I transmigrated into a chasing the wife romance novel right in the middle of a wedding to my arranged fiancé. When the officiant asked if he was willing to marry me, he said no. Then, in front of everyone, he proposed to my bridesmaid. Bullet comments on the livestream went wild. Here it comes. The iconic scene. Heroine gets humiliated. Immediately marries the male lead's rival. Male lead's jaw drops. And the pursuit arc officially begins. Girl, look at the rival. He's totally shattered. What's so entertaining about that? It's not like I'm incapable of turning the tide myself. Chapter 01. Mr. Kevin, do you take Ms. Bianca to be your lawfully wedded wife? In good times and bad, for richer or poorer, in sickness and in health, in joy and in sorrow, to love her unconditionally, to remain loyal to her until the end of your life? I don't. Kevin blurted out without a second's hesitation. The audience erupted in gasps. The officiant stood awkwardly, unsure how to proceed. Kevin turned to me and said, "Sorry, Bianca, but I think a person should be true to their heart. So, I can't go through with this family-arranged marriage." He said sorry, but his gaze was full of condescension, absolutely certain that I would cry, throw a tantrum, maybe even threaten suicide, begging him not to leave me. If I hadn't transmigrated here, the original Bianca would have done exactly that. Her father had just passed away. Her mother was a beautiful but clueless housewife. And Bianca majored in illustration, a profession totally useless for running a company. So her mother, still in mourning, begged the Kevin family to honor the engagement quickly so that Kevin could help manage the business. Otherwise, following local customs, no weddings could be held during the mourning period, at least not until next year's anniversary of death. Some more traditional families would even observe mourning for 3 full years. When Kevin rejected the marriage, the original Bianca cried on the spot, which gave Kevin immense satisfaction. After the ceremony, Kevin shamelessly proposed that if Bianca agreed to be his mistress, he'd still be willing to manage the company. Unfortunately for him, I had arrived, and I wouldn't let him see a single tear. I smiled faintly and said just one word, "Okay." My unusually calm reaction stunned Kevin. He assumed I was putting on a brave face, and gave me a look that said, "You'll be crying later." Then he turned to one of the bridesmaids, my best friend, Elena. He raised the wedding ring that was meant for me, got down on one knee, and said, "Elena, marry me. Let's get our marriage license right now." The room once again descended into chaos, except for Kevin's family. They already knew he was going to back out of the wedding, because I was the one who arranged it. In the original plot, Kevin's family only found out about his intention to cancel the wedding at the ceremony itself. They rushed on stage to hit him, cursing that he'd lost his mind and demanding he go through with the marriage. But Kevin told them that the country's richest man had secretly contacted Elena and done a paternity test. If nothing went wrong, Elena was likely the biological daughter mistakenly switched at birth, the true heiress. Upon hearing that, Kevin's mother immediately turned around and scolded the original Bianca, telling her to stop playing the victim since Kevin didn't love her. However, just a few days later, the test results came back. Elena was not the heiress. A month later, the real daughter was found at an orphanage. At the same time, Kevin discovered that the person who had saved his life back then wasn't Elena, it was Bianca. And so began his wife-chasing hell arc. But the truth was, without the hotel business support from Bianca's family, the Kevin family couldn't run many of their operations. To prepare for the perfect revenge, 3 days before I transmigrated into Bianca's body, I had already secretly founded the Rock Solid project. I also tipped off the richest man about the real heiress at the orphanage. This time, the real heiress did her DNA test just 1 day after Elena. I made a deal with the billionaire. If the express results confirmed the girl at the orphanage was his daughter, he should announce the results on my wedding day, right before the wedding started. I anonymously told Kevin's mother everything, the secret meeting with Elena, the hidden paternity test, and Kevin's plan to publicly ditch me and propose to Elena. The goal was simple, make sure Kevin's family didn't interfere with my big slap-in-the-face moment. Sure enough, even with all the chaos Kevin caused, they stayed quiet. Now, on stage, Elena, who had just been publicly proposed to, looked at me in a panicked and innocent way. "Bianca, I didn't know. This wasn't my idea." Kevin stood up, glaring at me. "Bianca, Look how scared you made Elena. I wanted to propose to her. It was my own decision. If you're mad, take it out on me. Don't take it out on someone innocent. I hadn't said a word, nor did I show the slightest surprise. Which eye of his saw me blaming anyone? I was so amused. I actually laughed. The live stream chat exploded. It's coming! Iconic scene alert. The heroine gets humiliated. Immediately marries her arch-rival. The scumbag panics. And the wife-chasing arc officially begins. Girl, look at your rival. He's about to fall apart. In the original storyline, Bianca really did look back and met the searing, love-stricken eyes of her sworn enemy, Leo. And right there, she agreed to marry him. Kevin lost his mind. After Elena was proven not to be the heiress, he went full throttle into the wife-chasing mode. Leo went nuclear, bankrupted Kevin's entire family and even sent Elena to a mental hospital. Leo truly loved the heroine, but he was twisted about it. Even though he was madly in love, he never said a single soft word. He thought Bianca still loved Kevin, so while he avenged her, he also dragged her into a sadomasochistic love-hate mess. He was cold to her every day, except in bed. Not until Bianca was stabbed by Elena and nearly died did he finally confess his love like a madman. But I wasn't the original Bianca. I couldn't handle this kind of twisted love. Besides, I didn't need Leo's help to turn the tides. I could win this on my own. So, I didn't even look back at Leo. I just smiled and asked Kevin, "Are you sure proposing to Elena was your own idea?" Kevin rolled his eyes impatiently. Duh. What else? I snapped my fingers. The giant wedding screen immediately stopped showing our wedding photos and switched to a video. On screen, Kevin and Elena. Location, the backseat of Kevin's luxury car. Post-passion, disheveled, cuddling. Elena, if you really love me, then propose to me at the wedding. Kevin, I don't know. It's a business marriage with Bianca. If I back out, my family will kill me. Our business depends on her family. Elena, truth is, the richest man already secretly had me do a DNA test. Kevin, what? That billionaire? Elena, yes. They think I might be their real daughter, but the results aren't out yet. They made me sign an NDA. I'm not allowed to tell anyone. But you're not anyone, right? Kevin, but it's just a guess. What if you're not? Elena, I compared myself to pictures of his wife before she died. I look 70% like her. I even inherited her dimples. So, you're really not going to propose to me at the wedding? Kevin, of course I'll propose. Compared to the richest man's daughter, Bianca's a nobody. Honestly, I've had it with Bianca and her crybaby act. Every time there's a problem, all she does is cry. I can't stand it anymore. Kevin paused, then asked curiously, Babe, why do you even hate Bianca so much? Weren't you two besties? Elena, besties. My ass. I only sucked up to her so she'd help pay my tuition and buy me a house. Otherwise, I wouldn't waste a single word on that idiot. As the video played, Kevin screamed, Turn it off! Turn it off! Who the hell's in charge of the AV here? Shut it down and fire yourself while you're at it. Elena was crying behind her hands. Bianca, what did I ever do to you? Why would you use an AI deepfake to ruin me? Then, the screen switched to a 4-camera view. Camera 1, dozens of hotel staff calmly serving desserts and gifts to guests amid the commotion. Camera 2, security staff efficiently blocking rogue paparazzi from rushing the stage. Camera 3, the PR team monitoring online sentiment in real time, issuing commands from backstage. Camera 4, a bridal support team surrounding me, one fixing my hair, one helping me out of the wedding dress, another shielding me from chaos. Chapter 02. After the short video ended, I stood with a composed expression. My stylist had quickly twisted my hair into a sleek professional updo, and I revealed the sleeveless, round-neck dress I'd worn under my wedding gown all along. The dress was white, figure-hugging, and knee-length, classic office wear. On the big screen behind me, the logo of my family's hotel group appeared, along with the campaign slogan, Rock Solid Project, Witness the Moment. I calmly took the microphone. My voice rang out, clear and powerful. Good afternoon, esteemed guests and everyone watching the livestream. I am Bianca, CEO of the hotel group. I'm sure you've all just witnessed a rather dramatic scene. First, On behalf of the hotel, let me thank Mr. Kevin and Ms. Elena, our beloved scum coquette duo, for their impassioned performance. My eyes casually swept toward Kevin's mother, whose face had turned the color of raw liver. I pretended to hear something and raised my hand as if cupping my ear. Oh, what's that, madam? You're asking what scum coquette duo means? Well, allow me to explain briefly. It's the perfect mix of a green TB*TCH and a sleazy jerk. Her face darkened several shades into black. I ignored her and turned toward the cameras. Thank you to our scum coquette duo for offering up such raw emotional turmoil, and in doing so, providing the ultimate stress test for our rock-solid project. As you've seen, I continued, channeling the full confidence I once had as a project director. Faced with an unforeseen and extreme situation far beyond the standard wedding scenario, the newly formed rock-solid team behind me demonstrated impeccable professionalism and rapid crisis response. Order was maintained, guests were calmed, public opinion was monitored, and the core party involved, me, received unshakable backstage support. No breakdown, no despair, just elegance under fire. Mr. Kevin's public cancellation of the wedding and on-site proposal to another woman was a foolish act devoid of any contractual integrity. I regret it deeply, but from a business perspective, it perfectly validated the value of the rock-solid project. No matter the disruption, rock-solid ensures that your most important moments remain anchored. Your experience will not collapse because of a few unexpected hiccups. Today, right here, we proved that our company's commitment is truly rock-solid. Countless phones were now pointed at me. I smiled at the cameras and waved confidently. Therefore, I hereby announce the official launch of our group's high-end service solution, Rock Solid Project, effective today. Starting now, clients who book our Rock Solid package, be it for weddings, milestone birthdays, or other key events, will enjoy premium protection and contingency services provided by our elite team, tested to withstand even the most extreme scenarios. For details, please visit the Joe Hotel Group's official website or follow our newly launched Rock Solid Project account on social media. Book today and enjoy a 20% launch discount on all packages. At the same time, I also announce, effective immediately, our entire hotel group will no longer accept any business from the Kevin family's Le Cher Events company. All clients seeking partnerships with our hotel chain must now work exclusively through Rock Solid Project. Le Cher Events, owned by Kevin's family, was one of the top event planning companies in the country. The very first thing I did after transmigrating was secretly establish Rock Solid Project. It was my area of expertise, and now, my most powerful weapon against them. More than half of Kevin's family company revenue came from Le Cher Events, and within that, the bulk of their profits relied on the discounted rates we gave them at my family's hotels. Additionally, I hereby officially announce that due to misconduct and failure to meet our company's standards, our employee Elena is dismissed from her position as CEO assistant. Effective immediately, her labor contract is hereby terminated. That's all I have to say. Thank you all for listening. All the red envelopes will be refunded. Please eat and drink well, and leave with no regrets. Once again, thank you. I handed the microphone back to the MC, smiled, waved, and left the stage gracefully with my team. Before we even exited the banquet hall, we heard another explosion of chaos behind us. My new assistant, Ruby, leaned in and whispered, "The tycoon just released the paternity test results on his official website. As expected, Elena is not the real heiress." I smiled and led the team forward, striding confidently past guests who stared in shock or admiration. The rest of the drama? Let the scum coquette duo handle it. Kevin and Elena had planned to bask in the spotlight today, live-streaming their engagement and even heading straight to the marriage registry. They even spent a fortune inviting dozens of social media influencers to witness their moment. But now that the tycoon's paternity test results are out, revealing another woman as the real heiress, they got none of the glory they sought. Instead, the mockery came flooding in. Even Kevin's family, who had supported him breaking off the engagement, were now rushing forward to scold and beat the two of them. As for Leo, I didn't even spare him a glance the entire time. 8 years in the corporate trenches taught me that only immature boys confuse deep affection and mortal enemies in the same breath. Unfortunately for him, I'm an adult now. I don't need some emotionally stunted second male lead to help me punish cheaters and homewreckers. I can do it just fine on my own. My unexpected crisis PR move didn't just set the venue ablaze, it blew up the livestream too. Bullet comments. WTF, WTF, WTF? What kind of power move is this? Isn't she supposed to run crying into the guy's arms, thanking him for marrying her? Where's the promised hellscape of chasing his wife back? How's the plot supposed to continue now? Wake up, y'all. This queen brought her own storyline. What she just showed was textbook crisis PR and brand management. This female lead is not playing by the usual script. She just walked away? Brooding second male lead. What are you doing? Go after her. Chase her? Nah. Every word she said just hit all my pleasure points. All I want now is to watch her slay and build an empire on her own. Original novel readers are losing it. This isn't some naive little sweetheart, this is the Devil Wears Prada reincarnated. Leo, I fixed my suit, memorized all my lines, and she didn't even look at me. I'm hooked. I want to see how long she, a helpless little girl, can last without a devoted second male lead helping her. Chapter 03. I returned to the company and convened an emergency shareholder meeting overnight. The original engagement between the former Bianca and Kevin was partly due to pressure from her mother, Autumn, and partly due to coercion from several senior shareholders led by Dominic. Both Autumn and Dominic believed the original Bianca was incapable of managing the company. The difference was, Autumn wanted to bind a capable man to her daughter through marriage, while Dominic believed he was the only one qualified to take the reins. Marrying Kevin was supposed to shut them both up. Dominic was the company's third largest shareholder after me and Autumn. He also had another identity. He was Elena's biological father. He had Elena through an affair during his marriage. But since he was a Phoenix man, a man from humble origins who married into wealth, his entire livelihood depended on his wife. So he never dared to acknowledge Elena. After Elena's mother died during childbirth, her family, unaware of who the father was, sent her to an orphanage. That's why the tycoon requested a paternity test with Elena. Elena and the real heiress were sent to the orphanage on the exact same day. Last year, Dominic's wife passed away, so he finally dared to consider recognizing Elena. His wife had been married before and had kids with her ex, and she refused to have more with Dominic. So Elena was his only bloodline. But after neglecting his duty as a father for so many years, he feared Elena wouldn't accept him. Learning that she worked at my company, he began frantically buying up shares, hoping to one day gain controlling interest and offer the company to Elena as a recognition gift. He was certain she'd accept him then. After becoming a major shareholder, Dominic constantly opposed the original Bianca's father. His involvement in repeated clashes eventually contributed to the stress-induced heart attack that took the father's life. I didn't care what Dominic's reasons were for becoming a shareholder, I only knew that this man had to go. In the original plot, Leo avenges Bianca later on by uncovering that Dominic's massive share purchases were funded through money laundering. He ends up sending him to prison. So, as soon as I transmigrated into this story, I ordered people to start collecting evidence of Dominic's money laundering and reported it to the police yesterday. Before the wedding, the police called to tell me they had verified the evidence as authentic. They had already applied for an arrest warrant, but they couldn't locate Dominic and asked for my help luring him out. Originally, both the police and I thought Dominic would show up at the wedding, but he didn't. That's why I called an emergency shareholder meeting overnight. According to company policy, if a shareholder neither shows up nor delegates their voting rights, they are considered to have abstained. After the chaos I stirred up at the wedding, Dominic had to come to the shareholder meeting. He'd be worried I'd push through motions that could harm him, and his presence would let him sway other shareholders. I waited with the others in the boardroom for nearly an hour before Dominic finally strolled in, late, as always, and right behind him was Autumn. In the original story, Autumn had desperately begged Kevin at the wedding not to cancel the marriage. She even hit and scolded her daughter, saying she was useless for failing to win Kevin's heart. It wasn't until Leo stepped forward and offered to marry Bianca that Autumn finally smiled again. After all, Leo's family was far wealthier than Kevin's. To prevent Autumn from following that script and sabotaging my plans, I had secretly drugged her with a sleeping pill. Before the wedding even began, she was out cold, and I had someone quietly take her home. I didn't marry Leo on the spot, so for Autumn to appear now at a shareholder meeting she had never attended before, the reason was obvious. Sure enough, the moment she walked in, she scolded me, pointing at my nose. "Bianca, are you insane? After how brutally you humiliated Kevin, how are you supposed to reconcile with him now? Without his help, You, a girl who studied illustration, how are you going to manage a company? Dominic seized the moment to fan the flames. Young lady, your wedding fiasco turned this company into the city's laughingstock. If you can't even hold on to your man, how can we trust you to steer this corporate ship? Based on an unverified video, you fired a highly capable employee like Elena on the spot. This was rash, childish, and shows a complete lack of judgment. You're simply unfit for leadership. He slammed the table hard. I propose we immediately remove Bianca from her roles as chairwoman and CEO. We can't entrust the future of this company to a reckless, emotional little girl. Autumn immediately chimed in. Bianca, stop this madness. At this point, you should just hand the company over to your Uncle Dominic. At least we'll still have our shares and be able to survive. If you ruin everything, we won't even have a place to live. I'm begging you, stop this nonsense already. Please. I drew in a sharp breath. So many precautions taken. And yet, I overlooked one thing. I never expected Autumn would defect to Dominic's side. And together, their combined shares outweigh my voting power. I decided to cut the Gordian knot. No more back and forth with Dominic. Dominic. Running a company relies on data, not personal attacks. I signaled my assistant to play the PowerPoint. A laughingstock? Just hours after the wedding, the rock-solid campaign was fully booked for 6 months, and the stock price hit its limit up at closing. Does that sound like a joke to you? Do you even have basic judgment anymore? If that's what you call impulsive and childish, then tell me, what word should we use to describe the Cloud Leisure Hotel project, solely managed by Elena, which has shown negative growth for 3 consecutive quarters? Dominic's expression darkened, and he snapped back. You're twisting the facts. That doesn't erase the shame you brought to this company. Speaking of shame, I shifted the tone, locking eyes with Dominic. I'm even more curious about something else. Mr. Dominic, the massive funds you used to acquire our company shares, where exactly did they come from? I opened a folder and presented a copy of a bank transaction record. According to this document, multiple shell companies under your name have had frequent financial dealings with an investment scam group currently under criminal investigation. Can you explain to all shareholders whether the funds you used to buy shares are clean or not? Dominic visibly panicked, slamming the table in forced bravado. Bianca, you dare investigate me? This is slander. I'll sue you for defamation. Whether it's slander, I calmly cut in. I believe someone qualified will make that judgment. When Dominic entered the conference room, I'd already tipped off the police. As I glanced down at my phone, checking for their reply, the meeting room door suddenly opened. Several uniformed officers walked in. The lead officer displayed his badge and announced in a steady, commanding voice, Mr. Dominic, we have solid evidence linking you to money laundering activities associated with an organized crime group, with proceeds used to acquire corporate shares. You are required to come with us for further investigation. The meeting room fell utterly silent. Everyone stared. Stunned, everyone except me. Dominic's face turned ashen. He stumbled backward, trembling. No, this can't be true. We'll find out soon enough during the investigation, the officer replied. He handcuffed Dominic and took him away. I picked up the final document and spoke clearly, my voice echoing through the room. This emergency shareholder meeting was convened to inform you all that, due to the questionable origin of Mr. Dominic's funds and his suspected criminal conduct, I have formally submitted a request to both the Securities Commission and the court for revalidation of his shareholder status. During the investigation period, his voting rights will be temporarily frozen by proposal of the board. I swept my gaze around the room, finally landing on a petrified Autumn. Now, madam, do you still think anyone but me is qualified to sit in this position? Chapter 04. After firmly securing my position, I wasted no time in launching the International Resort Hotel Partnership Project. The richest man quickly agreed to invest, and I finally let out a sigh of relief. But Autumn was still uneasy. That day was her birthday, so I put work aside and returned to attend her birthday banquet. And then, I saw Leo. He was still the same, stiff and aloof, sitting alone in a corner with a cold expression, completely out of sync with the lively crowd around him. The barrage of live comments, silent for a while, exploded again. Barrage comments. Girl, talk to Leo. He's the real match. Love with a man backing you is just too comfy. Woo-woo. Look at the way Leo looks at her, his gaze is melting. That's true love. A woman without love is incomplete. What's the point of building an empire if there's no one to warm your bed at night? You'll regret losing Leo. No one else will ever love you like he does. Life without marriage is incomplete. Are you really going to let your life end in regret? He's waited for you all these years. Can't you give him a title? You're too cruel. It hurts to see Leo sitting there all alone. Go sit with him. Girl. No matter how wild the comments got, I had no intention of walking over. I'm not against love, but if the guy insists on being abstract, never speaking his feelings, never showing them through action, always acting cool and moody, then sorry. I'm too shallow for that kind of deep love. Rather than wait for a silent man to hold an umbrella for me, I'd rather be my own roof. I turned to greet someone else, but Autumn stepped in, pushing me straight in front of Leo. Bianca, you and Leo are old friends, right? Help me entertain him, okay? She even winked at me. It was obvious what she meant. Go tame this man, in bed. Not wanting to cause a scene, I reluctantly sat across from Leo. Long time no see. Thanks for coming to my mom's birthday. Leo gave a crooked smirk. The same nonchalant air as ever. Just passing by. Thought I'd stop in. So cold, so distant. I couldn't sense even a shred of warmth. But of course, the comment section went wild. "Ah," he answered. He really cares. Passing by? You detoured dozens of miles, didn't you? His fingers twitched when he said that. Micro-expression experts confirm, he's lying. Help. This clumsy, awkward, emotionally stunted male lead is hitting all my sweet spots. He wants to say so much, but he can't even get one sentence out. I get it. I do. At Bianca, don't be annoyed. That's just how these old-school romantic guys are. Make the first move. He's so ruthless in the business world. But now he's just a stammering mess. It's the ultimate contrast crush. I rubbed my forehead. Speechless. I'm no immortal fairy. I really don't deserve this kind of noble love that only exists on a spiritual plane. The silence between us became suffocating. Just as I was scrambling for an excuse to leave, Leo suddenly spoke up. The smart hotel project, your direction wasn't stupid. Thanks. I was surprised. Still venom-tongued. But it sounded like a compliment. I wasn't used to it. Just as I was wondering if he was trying to shift their dynamic, he added stiffly, but your execution's still amateur. If you don't fix the security vulnerabilities, don't come crying to me later. Ah, there it was. Every word wrapped in concern. But the message was clear. Come back under my wing. Accept my protection. If this was when I had just transmigrated, I might have understood his words. After all, the original Bianca was raised to believe women should depend on men. But I've been here a while now, from the success of the rock-solid campaign, to outmaneuvering Dominic, to securing investment from the richest man. I've proven myself. If Leo still can't see my ability after all that, then frankly, he doesn't want to. Looking at the whole story, there's no doubt he's a man with a strong sense of responsibility. He'll take care of the heroine. He'll avenge her. He can't stand to see her hurt. But the one thing he never realizes is this. His sharp tongue and cold demeanor are what hurt her the most. Before he confessed his feelings, the heroine was living in constant torment. On one hand, grateful for his help. On the other, forced to endure his biting sarcasm. And now, with me here, someone who refuses to lean on him, he's back at it again. Unconsciously trying to tear me down. If I'm right, he probably thinks he's being incredibly considerate, emotionally moved by his own sense of sacrifice, always ready to shield me from the storm. Thanks for the reminder. I'll be cautious. I stood up to leave. There was really no point continuing the conversation, but after just a few steps, Leo rushed over and grabbed my arm. I'm talking to you. Woman, do you even understand what I mean? I stared at him coldly. He sighed. Forget it, fine. I give up. What I meant was, I can help you. You don't have to work so hard. I pulled my arm out of his grip. But I enjoy my current state. I don't feel like I'm working hard at all. That came from the heart. I truly do enjoy it. No one argues with me just for the sake of it. When I propose a plan, It gets executed without obstruction. Unlike before I transmigrated, writing a proposal only to have it ripped apart by some clueless rich second-gen boss, who then forced me to rewrite it dozens of times based on his ridiculous ideas, until it was unrecognizable. You, woman, I've said this much and you still won't take the hint? Can't you just climb down the ladder I'm handing you? Does every deeply devoted second male lead have to be this arrogant and boundaryless? Leo, don't act like you're not an outsider. I snapped, voice turning steely. Apparently, Autumn saw Leo grabbing my arm and got the wrong idea. She came over grinning from ear to ear. Oh ho ho! Another lover spat? You two really are a pair of destined frenemies. Ha ha ha. But hey, there's an old saying, enemies are fated to meet. Why not just get engaged today while everyone's here? Mom. I shot her a warning glare, but too late. She wasn't looking, because she had already turned around, clapped her hands loudly, and shouted, Everyone, everyone, I've got a big announcement to make. I rolled my eyes so hard I nearly saw my past life. And Leo? That jerk was smirking, clearly pleased with his scheming. Looks like he had already teamed up with my mom in secret, planning to propose today. Chapter 05. Everyone turned to look at my mom. I picked up a glass of wine, stepped in front of her, and quickly spoke first. The good news is everyone here today will receive a free stay voucher for our new hotel. I'll have them sent to your phones shortly. I raised my glass with a smile. Thank you all for coming to celebrate my mother's birthday, wishing her many happy returns, and wishing all of you everything your hearts desire. After taking a sip, I stormed upstairs with a grim face. Of course, my mom and Leo followed me, with no other choice. I led them into the study. The moment the door shut, my mom started scolding me. Bianca, are you insane? I finally got Leo to agree to an engagement and you just ignore it? If you marry Leo, he can help you manage the company. Then you can go back to being a pampered parasite. Isn't that a good deal? I ignored her and looked straight at Leo. Why do you even want to marry me? Leo raised his eyebrows, casual and cocky as ever. Saw you're about to crash. Thought I'd give you a way out, let you come home and live easy. Comments exploded. He must have been watching her secretly. How else would he know she's struggling? Give her a way out. This is his clumsy way of saving her. He says you're not doing well, but what he really means is I want to marry you. Leo logic. Hurt her to show love. Deadass. If you don't want him, I will. Switch me in. I ignored the barrage and looked him dead in the eye. But Leo, I don't like you, and I'm not going to get engaged to someone I don't love. Leo's face went completely pale. His eyes locked on mine with a pained, wounded expression. I didn't want to be cruel, but someone like him, with an overactive imagination, needs things spelled out. Vague responses only fuel his delusions. Comments surged again. The FL is insane. How can she not want Leo? Deeply devoted men don't talk much, they feel deeply. She doesn't deserve him. Leo, look at me. You don't need to confess. I know you love me. I waved the comments away. Sick of the noise. My mom gave me a hard pinch. You little brat. Other than Leo, where are you gonna find a man this good? I answered calmly. Mom, to me, marriage is a bonus, not a rescue plan. I don't need a marriage to prove my life is complete. Her voice rose. What woman doesn't need to get married? I bit my tongue and kept my cool. If I meet someone I love, I will marry. Leo finally spoke again. Why can't that person be me? Bianca? All your so-called independence is just bluster because you had no one to rely on. Now that I'm offering you a shoulder, how long are you going to keep acting tough? I stared at him, unwavering. Leo, that's exactly the problem. What you're offering isn't a shoulder. It's charity from above. What I need is a partner, someone who can stand back to back with me against the world. But you seem to prefer playing the savior, just to validate your own worth. No matter how sturdy the crutch, it's useless to me, because I can walk and run on my own. I didn't want to keep going. I opened the door and left, didn't even go back to my room. I walked out of the villa. For a while after, neither my mom nor Leo bothered me again. With no internal friction, I was living incredibly free. But peace only lasted a couple of days. Kevin showed up. Ever since I publicly announced that we were severing ties with his company, Things had gone downhill for them. Their stock kept plummeting. Business was drying up. Many clients, needing access to our hotel resources, bypassed them and signed directly with Rockstone Initiative. I met Kevin in the company's reception room. His shoulders were slumped. His whole vibe a far cry from the arrogant man who humiliated me at the wedding. And honestly, I was loving it. Mr. Kevin, what brings you here? Please get to the point. I have a meeting in 5 minutes. He looked stunned for a second, then gave a bitter laugh. Are you really still the same Bianca? Spit it out, I said bluntly, not even pretending to be polite. He shook his head, self-deprecating. I deserve it. I threw away a pearl thinking it was a pebble. But Bianca, for old time's sake, stop right there. I raised a hand to cut him off. There is no old-time sake. There was only a business deal, and we never even closed it. Kevin puffed out his cheeks and exhaled hard. All right then, let me ask just one question. If I begged you to work with our company again, would you say yes? No. I didn't even hesitate. After the disgusting stunt you pulled with Elena, you should have known. Coming to beg me would only get you humiliated. I stood up, striding toward the door without turning around. I've got a meeting now. You know your way out. As for his expression, I didn't care to look. What I do know. That night, his company announced that Kevin was removed from his CEO post. His illegitimate half-brother took over. Chapter 06. In my leisurely peace, the day finally arrived, the one where, in the original plot, the original Bianca was stabbed by Elena. According to the original storyline, by now Kevin's family business had already been ruined by Leo, and Elena had been committed to a psychiatric hospital. But Elena managed to escape, followed Bianca and Leo to the cinema, and when Bianca went to the bathroom alone, Elena stabbed her with a knife. Since I hadn't married Leo after transmigrating, naturally, there was no scenario where we would go to the movies together. Still, I had a gut feeling that Elena would come for me on this day regardless. After all, she was merely unemployed now, not institutionalized, and completely free to act. I told my team about my concerns. After careful discussion, everyone agreed the best strategy was to bait Elena into committing a crime using a body double. So I spent the entire day safely tucked away in the presidential suite of my hotel. One of my female bodyguards, whose figure closely resembled mine, dressed in my clothes and put on makeup to look like me. She went in and out of the company building as a decoy. By the evening, news came. Elena had attacked the bodyguard with a knife in a restaurant bathroom and was caught red-handed. After being sentenced, Elena requested to see me. I went. She stared at me in a daze. You're not the real Bianca. Who are you? Amused, I countered. Why would you say I'm not the real Bianca? Elena suddenly erupted. Because the real Bianca is stupid. Whenever something happened, she only knew how to ask me what to do. She had zero ability to fight back. She'd do whatever I wanted. Oh. I leaned forward, my gaze sharp like a blade as I locked eyes with her. So, you admit it, you've always known exactly what role you were playing in Bianca's life, haven't you? A parasite who fed on her trust and dependence just to feel like you mattered. Does that sound about right? You're spouting nonsense, Elena screamed. Bianca was just dumber than me. She deserved to be used by me. Smarter, are you? I leaned back into the chair, my tone calm but every word struck like a dagger. Then tell me, without Bianca to contrast you, what are you? Your family? Your skills? Your pathetic charm that only shines when teamed up with a scumbag, is that what you're proud of? As her face turned ghostly pale, I pressed on, slow and steady, like I was stating an obvious fact. The cleverness you pride yourself on? That only existed because Bianca was too kind to question you. Every victory you claimed came from the unguarded trust she offered you with her back turned. But if she had just turned around and looked at you head on, Elena, your so-called brilliance wouldn't have had anywhere to hide. You're nothing but an idiot. I couldn't help but curse for the original Bianca and all the love she gave to the wrong people. If you were really that smart, Kevin wouldn't have dumped you like trash. Ah. Elena completely broke down. She clutched her ears and screamed hysterically, tears streaming down her face. Shut up! Shut up! You shut up! It's not true. That's not how it was. She rambled incoherently. It was clear her mind was no longer sound. As for me, I simply stood up and calmly straightened the hem of my slightly wrinkled shirt. Then I softly told the officer nearby, "This woman's emotions seem unstable. I recommend she be taken to a psychiatric hospital for evaluation." Not long after, I received word Elena was officially diagnosed with schizophrenia and placed under supervised treatment. A few days later, the Kevin family's company declared bankruptcy. Turns out, that illegitimate son who replaced Kevin was a complete fool. He actually signed a clearly rigged contract, dragging the entire company straight into hell. The day I received the news, I happened to be at the airport with the Rockstone strategy team, preparing for an island retreat, part team building, part market research for our next hotel project. Suddenly, a woman's harsh voice rang out beside me. "How much longer are you going to stare? Is she prettier than me or what?" Instinctively, I turned my head, only to lock eyes with Kevin. Next to him was a woman yanking on his ear, old enough to be his mother. When she noticed me looking, the woman rolled her eyes and dragged Kevin away like a scolded dog. My assistant Ruby leaned in and explained, "Rumor has it he sold his family's company to that woman. She promised to make him CEO again." I blinked. "So, Kevin sold his body?" Ruby shrugged. "Call it what you will, but right now, he's that woman's lapdog. That's a fact." I chuckled and shook my head, no interest in digging further. After our island trip, I returned to my joyful, single life. As for love and fate, I'll just wait for the right season to bloom. The live comment feed hadn't shown up in ages. Guess I pissed off all the fans who wanted me to marry their beloved deeply devoted second male lead. Well, let them faint from rage.